last name.
Oh. Welcome to the JFL Week 7 predictions. I'm here with, and I'm, all right. So, our week 7 slate, we've got first matchup, Corsairs at Kingfishers. Let's talk about it. So, record standpoint wise, I should pull up season 1, shouldn't I? Season 1, Corsairs are 4-2. Remarkably, I don't think anybody expected that going into the season.
I think they're frauds, but
I also think they're frauds. I think they're going to get exposed in the next couple of weeks.
They're not making the playoffs.
Kingfishers are 3-3, so 1 win less. Kingfishers just beat the Griffins, and so I think this is a real test for the Corsairs. And then week 8 they play the Paladins.
I heard they got a new general manager.
The Kingfishers, yes, new general manager Joe Sheridan of the Kingfishers led them to a victory in his first game. Pretty nice, pretty impressive. So yeah, let's talk about it. What do you think? Who do you think's gonna win this?
For me, I'm all about that new blood per se. I really enjoy the way Joe seems to, be coming into this organization.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take the Kingfishers on this one.
Got the Kingfishers. Think they got that fire with that new
I think
manager?
the Corsairs are frauds. They're ridiculous. How long they've gone through this whole season in this league with a winning record, it makes me upset, and I'm excited for the Kingfishers to expose them.
They're very volatile.
They're not volatile. They're just playing.
They're volatile. They could go great. They could
No.
go terribly. Even like they beat the shit out of the
I'm
Stars.
telling you, they're frauds.
I think they're frauds too. I'm just saying they're volatile. They can win, but they also I don't see them sustaining anything. Icy Danzler, the running back, is second in the league in rushing yards. Somehow he either puts up 100+ yards or 40.
He's a system running back.
System running back could be. Andre Vermeil is a great. This offense isn't a joke. Icy Danzler, volatile or not, is second in the league in rushing yards with. He has. Let's see here. He has 454 on the season, which is second only to Ernie Gecko. He's 40 yards ahead of third place. He's got 8 touchdowns. We also have three fumbles.
3 fumbles in 6 games. Are you kidding me?
A lot of running backs have 3 fumbles. It's not a good running back class.
I don't care. Icy Danzler is overrated.
Jerry Holes is mediocre. He leads the league in interceptions. That's a big thing. That's a big point. Andre Vermeil, though, is 4th in receiving yards and 7 touchdowns, which is second, maybe third. That's pretty good. This offense isn't a joke. There is talent there, but it's not enough. I don't think it's enough to go anywhere. And the defense, there's not a lot there. There's not much there on defense at all. So for the Kingfishers, Ike Michaels has been playing terrible recently. He was 2nd overall pick. He's been playing not great. Where is he on them?
It's crazy.
Ike Michaels is he's only ahead of Hansbach, Akin, and Phil Browning in passing yards. He has 8 interceptions thrown.
It's embarrassing.
It's pretty bad. He's
He's
below Jerry Holes in passing.
Jeez.
But Taco Palamam is 3rd in rushing yards. That's the only person right below Icy Danzler. He's the only person below. The only people above him are Icy Danzler and Ernie Gecko. He's got 6 touchdowns. A decent amount of receiving yards. And I think the Kingfishers, their receiver Alano Mila has the record for receiving yards in the game, 275 that he put up a few weeks ago. It was almost broken last week by Mason Mountain, who put up 273, remarkably. But Alano Mila hasn't done much other than that game, because he only has 492 yards on the season with a 275-yard game. So, So, right, predictions. You got the Kingfishers?
Kingfishers on this.
I've got the Kingfishers as well. What about you?
Fish. Corsairs.
Fish, all right. Game 1, we've got the Kingfishers over the Corsairs, unanimous.
Final.
All right. Here, while we're at it, why don't we do a score prediction for the Kingfishers?
I just did that.
Yeah, we didn't do a score prediction, though. So, Kingfishers, Corsairs. I've got Kingfishers 28, Corsairs 21.
Give me the Fish 14-7.
14-7, low scoring game.
I've got the Kingfishers. I've got them 24-17.
There's no field goals.
got them 21-14.
All right, we'll see how it goes. The Paladins at the Leopards. Why don't you take it away?
Paladins, the Pals, you know. It's a great football club. Top to bottom. It's a great rushing attack. The passing attack is incredibly underrated.
Randall Corlin is up there with one of the elite passers in this game, without a doubt.
You know, I've got to disagree with you guys on this one. I also think the Paladins are frauds.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the Paladins are frauds. Well, Randall Corlin, despite being an elite passer, he's also an elite rushing quarterback. He's the best scrambling quarterback this season, by far. The only one close is Cruz Gibbs on the Lancers, but like it's clear that Randall Corlin's a better talent.
He is a bright spot on this team. I will give you that.
This team is...
The rushing attack is incredible.
It's a very diverse rushing attack. The quarterback runs, the receivers run. They've got 3 different running backs. They got good blocking.
You know that Danny Cruzan guy, Glacier's traded.
Danny Cruzan just got traded there. That's an interesting new dynamic.
Terrible trade for the Paladins. Terrible trade.
Excelled in his new role.
The trade has proved beneficial for Danny Cruzan. He's had career best in both his games with the Paladins so far.
With only, 70 yards?
And less carries.
Something like that.
Lovely job, Danny.
Talk to me when he has a 100-yard game, okay, buddy?
Could happen. Paladins are 4-2 for a reason. They're playing the Leopards, which are 3-3. They've had a nice 2-win stretch. Paladins just lost to the Lancers. It's a close game. Put up a lot of points. Like Dustin Dodrum as a tight end is second in the league in receiving yards, which is impressive for the Paladins. But the Leopards have the number 1 receiver in Ricky Toon, and you cannot undermine that passing attack. They've got 3 very good receivers, Soren Kelsey and Travion Meissen with Ricky Toon.
Doesn't matter.
Their biggest issue, though, is that running game. Calvin Zenner has 10
The issue is a quarterback
fumbles.
fucking sucks.
Ruth Legane is a good quarterback. He's 3rd in the league in passing, I believe. He might be 2nd now. Yeah, he's 2nd. He's 2nd in the league in passing, 2,023 yards, 69% completion percentage, 18 touchdowns to 5 picks. He has the most touchdowns in the league. Ruth Legane is an elite quarterback. You can't really argue that. Who's better? I mean, Tiber Jericho. That's the list that you can definitively say are better than Ruth Legane. All right, that's the bottom line.
I think Ruth Legane and Ricky Toon are gonna eat up on this weak Paladins defense. You know, I mean, this Paladin team has been good for the first half of the season, but I think last week's loss is kind of like, you know, in the alternate league of how last year in the NFL we saw the Eagles go on a losing streak towards the end of their season. I think this is what's going to happen with the Paladins, and I think they're a first-round exit in the playoffs.
It's possible. It's possible.
That's a crazy thing to say.
I think these Paladins are built to sustain, but we'll see about that. You know, Ruth Legane, back to Ruth Legane. He's definitely an elite quarterback, but, you know, there is an argument. Is he carried by his elite receiving trio?
Obvious.
It's possible, but accuracy is accuracy. Basically 70% completion percentage, only 5 interceptions. You know,
who's giving these elite receivers the ball? You know, like you
Legane.
got to give
maybe
some
the
credit to Legane.
Maybe the reason they have 3 great receivers is they
It's
have a
because
great quarterback
exactly
giving them the ball. That's very
exactly.
possible. It's all an
Ruth
argument.
Legane is the truth.
The Leopards' defense is quite underwhelming. Well, the running game is terrible. 10 fumbles for Calvin Zenner and only 170 rush yards. And then their defense is mediocre. I think their best player would have to be Carlton Locke, who's a shutdown receiver, and their linebacker, Ruiz Levi, shutdown DB. Ruiz Levi, 58 tackles, 4 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles is pretty good. But other than that, they don't have much going on. Their sack leader is Horace Richardson with only 3, and there's nothing there after that.
There's something to be said about the Paladins. I believe they have 4 rushers with more rushing yards than Calvin Zenner.
Oh, let's check that. I believe that's true. Randall Corlin definitely has more, and all 3 of the running backs definitely have more. Unless Rick Smothers has.
Rick Smothers.
I think Rick Smothers has more.
How about let's talk about those linebackers and D line for the Leopards. So
it's terrible. I mean, their linebacker duo is all right.
Atrocious.
Ruiz Levi and Leo Punnett are fine. They're a decent linebacker tandem. The D line is atrocious. They have a good DB, Carlton Locke, but other than that, they're not getting picks. They're not getting forced fumbles from the DBs, and they're just getting some tackles.
I think the real question is whether or not this Leopards linebacker room is able to stop the run. against this
They
Paladins
can't
team.
stop the run.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I've got the Paladins.
I've got the Leopards.
Give me the Pals.
All right, 2-1.
49-7.
49-7. Oh yeah, we should do a score prediction. 49-7. I've got 35-14. 35-14.
Leopards 28-7.
28-7. Wow, you haven't blown them out. That's a bold take.
It's a joke.
All right, week 3. Fuck is week 3? All right, week 3. We've got the Salamanders at the Rhinos. So these are two of the lower teams, probably the two worst teams in the league. The Salamanders are 0-6 despite having the first overall pick in Jack Malley. And the Rhinos are second to last in the league with a 2-4 record. With the last taken quarterback in the league, Phil Browning, who's also last in passing yards. It's been a rough stretch for both of these teams, despite a few promising performances along the way. And Phil Browning, Rhinos quarterback, only has 1,108 passing yards, 6 touchdowns to 6 picks. Pretty awful. They have no running back. Their high draft running back, Raquise Davies, has been awful. He only has 200 yards. They don't have a wide receiver 1. Their undrafted free agent Cam George Cohn is their number 1 so far, and that's just not going to cut it. It's really nothing going on for this team. The offense stinks. Defense, they have Demario Rashavan, who's a good pass rusher, taken in the first round, and Ross Blunt has 5 interceptions. But past that, what's on this team?
Looks pretty bleak for them, to be honest.
Looks bleak.
Toilet bowl.
If the Salamanders are going to get a win, this has to be it. If they can't win this game, what are you doing? You can't go to winless in your first season, especially when you had the first overall pick, and this team that you're playing against took a quarterback in the 14th round of 14. Phil Browning is awful. Jack Malley's an elite quarterback. I expect the Salamanders to win this game. What about you?
I do as well. So I got Salamanders. Still a low-scoring game. I got them 14-7.
14-7.
I'm taking the Rhinos. I think it's an underrated team. I think they have good coaching out there. Give me Rhinos. We'll say 21-14 Rhinos.
21-14. I've got the Salamanders. I'm gonna say the Salamanders put up an offensive day. I'm gonna say 35-14. Salamanders beat the Rhinos and show that they have some potential and something to look forward to going into season 2. Let's go into our 4th matchup. We have 4 out of 5 Griffins at Lancers. So this is going to be pretty one-sided, I expect. The Griffins are also the other 2-4 team in this league. They just lost to the Kingfishers after starting off 2-0. They've lost 4 straight, I believe. And the Lancers are 6-0. The Lancers are the team to beat. They have a 2-win lead on second place. Top to bottom, that's a complete team. That's unstoppable. And the Griffins just can't find the way right now.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy one. I've got a Lancers 42-7.
42-7. Damn, you're really with the blowouts today. You don't think the losers are putting up more than 7 points?
Nope. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really need to talk about this matchup more. I got Lancers. I'm going to say 35-14.
I want to give the Griffins credit because I do think it's a better team than their record shows, but I'm still going Lancers. We'll say 20.
They have good players. Hunter Sallow, tight end, has been balling out.
28-7 Lancers.
28-7 Lancers. All right. And for our final matchup of the week, we have primetime Sharks at Glaciers.
Woo! Give me the Glaciers!
We got to talk about it first.
Yeah.
All right, so the Sharks, they're a better team than the record shows because they have leading MVP candidate Tyler Jericho. There's nobody taking that award from him at this point in the season.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Go ahead.
Tyler Jericho is the most overrated, fraudulent player in this league right now.
All right, let me read off Tyler Jericho's stats.
I don't care about his stats.
Tyler Jericho.
No. Listen, let me talk to you. Tyler Jericho's stats are irrelevant. Have you seen the games? The refs are giving him these stats, brother.
I don't think so, brother. The Sharks are 3-3 right now. They've had a couple rough games. Their defensive line cannot stop the run game. They've given up the most rushing yards to opposing running backs. Running backs salivate when they see they're playing the Sharks on their schedule. The Glaciers are also 3-3, so this is really a fight to see who's going to have a winning record this next week. We'll say Tiber Jericho. I'm going to read off the stats anyway. We got 2,710 passing yards. Second place, 2,023. That's a 700-yard advantage. 80% completion percentage. 17 touchdowns, which is second place. Only, 4 interceptions only. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive stat line. Tell me what's better. Like, there's nobody else in MVP contention today.
Oh, that's
Glaze.
I mean,
Glaze.
the only quarterback who I'd say is on the same level, that could not on the same level, but in the realm, is Ruth Legain or Randall Corlin. Randall Corlin has 1,000 less passing yards.
I would take Ruth Legain and Randall Corrin and Hans Backallen over Tiber Jericho any day.
Does not
Hans
Backallen is the second worst quarterback in this league.
Still better than Tiber Jericho.
That's outrageous.
Tiber Jericho does not even belong in the JFL.
What are your credentials?
Okay.
Huh?
What are your credentials to be here?
You know.
That's absurd. All right, we got a Glaciers fan over here.
I am no Glaciers fan. I wasn't even born on Alaska, buddy.
Yeah.
You clearly don't know
He's
me.
Canadian. All right. So, all right, we'll move on from Tiber Jericho. So, let's talk about the Glaciers a little bit. Their defense is pretty nice. Their offense sucks, but their defense is good. They've got the two arguably best linebackers in the league with Ivan Dekolov and Artem Babylon, both having all-pro seasons. King Salazar at DB is shut down. Their best D lineman, Ryan Craig, is pretty decent. It's a good defense. That defense can shut you down. But the offense is what's the problem here. Hans Backallen, second last in passing yards.
I think this is an offensive coordinator struggle, personally. I think they've got like a Matt Canada on their team. I think the general manager should fire the offensive coordinator.
Maybe, but Hans Backallen was an experimental draft pick. He played in Germany. That's pretty, how does that translate to American football?
Some say German football is better than American football.
I haven't heard that.
I've heard that.
People have said
they're saying
said
that. Yeah.
Well,
People are saying
They're
that.
saying that.
People are saying.
They're saying that.
Well, it's not showing here. Hans Backallen, arguably the second worst quarterback in this league.
Not for long.
Rushing for the Glaciers. They had Danny Crutchin drafted in the first round. Biggest running back prospect ever.
Fucking terrible.
Sucked. He did not play well. First 4 games, they traded him. They now have Quincy Jerome, who is the third running back for the Paladins. He's played better than Danny Crutchin so far, but that's still not going to win you games. You're not going to win games on the back of Quincy Jerome. It's just not going to happen.
That's true.
Receiving, they have a decent receiving core. Marty DeBerry is a good receiver. I mean, that's about it.
Marty DeBerry's great.
Marty DeBerry's a good receiver, but he's not elite. He's
he's pretty elite.
4, 5, 6, 7. He's 8th overall in receiving yards. It's all right.
That's top 10.
It's decent. Top 10 out of 10. There's 10 teams. All right.
Fuck you.
All right. Sharks, Glaciers. I've got the Sharks here. Prime time. I think Tiber Jericho is going to dominate in prime time. I've got the Sharks 28-21 victory.
This is a pretty obvious pick here. You just look at everything, you laid everything out. It's super obvious. You take Glaciers by 70. I've got Glaciers 70-0.
All right, you need to leave.
0.
Yeah.
You're not serious about here.
I'm serious. I'm dead ass. Glaciers 70-0.
70-0.
They're going to expose Tiber Jericho.
There was never even been a 60-point game in this league.
Yeah, and there's going to be one.
The Sharks' defense is not good, but do you think the Glaciers' offense is good enough to put up 70 points?
Glaciers' offense is better than any offense I've ever seen in any league ever, even the German ones.
Hans Backallen, Quincy Jerome, best offense you've ever seen. All right, what do you
Quincy
think?
Jerome is from Germany. I don't know if you know this.
He's not.
Not German.
No, his mother's from Germany.
Is he?
Yes. He's got that
All right.
German league in him.
Yeah, well, there's nothing German. There's no good Germanness going on in this league so far. So, what do you think?
I'm going to take the Glaciers. I think this can be sort of coming out party for Quincy Jerome. I think he goes over 100 yards. I think that Glaciers defense is good enough to slow down Tiber Jericho.
Good man.
I mean, he's playing. I mean, that's true. He's playing the Sharks, the worst run defense in the league. Quincy Jerome should have a career day.
I'm gonna take Glaciers. 35-14 Glaciers.
35-14 Glaciers. All right. Well, that's prime time. We got one Sharks. I'm the only one voting the Sharks.
Should
Two
not
Glaciers.
be in prime time.
Well, every team needs one primetime game. So
A blowout on this
this will
proportion.
be the Glaciers' first primetime game.
A blowout of this proportion should not be on national television. That'd be embarrassing for the Sharks.
I mean, I want to see a
Shouldn't put it there.
70-point game on primetime. I don't know about y'all. Like, that sounds great.
I mean, that's great for Glaciers fans, which is not me, by the way, but, you know.
Or any Sharks hater.
Yeah.
I think a lot of 3-3 teams would be happy to see that. You know, get their chances in the playoffs higher.
Expose Tyler
It's gonna be
Jericho as
exciting
the
to
fraud
see.
he is.
Exciting over these next couple of weeks to see who makes the playoffs. It's a tight race right now. Lancers are in for sure. We'll see out of the other 3-3 and 4-2 teams who's going to actually win out, and who's going to make the All-Pro roster with these final 2 weeks. And thank you all for watching JFL Network. He's cool.
I should go chasing people right now.
You should. Let's do it.